I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
All right, here we go. Oops, the podcast. Francis Ellis, Julio Gallerati.
Yeah.
I went to see. Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson?
He's the Wolf of Wall Street?
No, Jordan Belfort.
Oh. Oh, is he the Christian guy?
I don't know
Jordan
if he
Peterson? Is he is he controversial?
Yes.
He's okay. I think maybe I'm familiar, but fill me in.
I think he's sort of a academic speaker who has somewhat.
Oh, he's like very misogynistic, right?
Your words. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
No, he's like, women want a guy who, like, he's like, he does that,
He
right?
does a lot of gender stuff,
Yeah.
and he kind of went. I guess he became famous for having somewhat strong views on transgender people and pronoun usage, and I don't know. Somehow it was more nuanced, I guess. I don't really know his background. I think he's a professor from Canada who he's been on Rogan dozens of times, I think.
Mhm.
And people worship this dude.
Really?
Worship him. So I got invited by a dear friend of ours to go watch him speak last night at the Beacon Theater.
What was the context?
Just that our friend had an extra ticket.
Were they like, oh, it's going to be amazing?
No. Our friend is not not to be, not say his name, but they're not as far as I can tell, a huge subscriber to him, to Jordan Peterson.
My thought is, like, if I'm going to go see someone at the Beacon Theater, it's either my friend or Bad Bunny and no in between. Like, there's no way I'd go to a concert of a person who I didn't really care about that much.
Yeah, it was a last minute thing, and he had, backstage passes to go meet him, and so
Okay. The VIP treatment.
I don't know. I just said, yeah, I'll come along. I was curious.
I'm not criticizing you for going. I'm saying, like,
Feels like you're criticizing
getting the
me.
tickets to begin with, I'm saying, is the aggressive move here. Going when invited is not aggressive.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. So I went and just to see what all the hubbub was about. And I didn't know anything about this guy. I really didn't. But I know that he's popular. And that, I mean, this thing was sold out, dude. And people were super hyped to see him.
Was it like a Tony Robbins vibe?
Well, I kind of thought that's what it was going to be, but it wasn't that at all.
Like, are you tired of not living your best life? Yeah.
I thought it was going to be exciting and that I would learn a lot from it and that there'd be lessons from my life. But that's not what it was at all. It's not what it was at all. First of all, his daughter came out to introduce him, and her name's Michaela Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's got a podcast.
Dude, I don't know why I just pictured you. I thought you were going to be like, his daughter came out and she was hot.
I mean, I don't, she's pretty. I won't say she isn't, but she came out and she introduced him and she was, I don't know. Her energy was low. She had very low energy. And so I was like, what the hell? What is going on here?
I was like, you guys ready for a great show?
And then she introduced it. There's no music. There's no lights, and then she's like, all right. And now I'll introduce the man who bought me Nerf guns on Christmas and this and, whatever. Not like, and now the guy who's won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It was like, whatever. And then he just sort of slowly ambled out onto the stage in a very academic, tweedy outfit. He was wearing sort of like the outfit that you'd expect some old classics professor to be wearing at a prestigious university. She left, and then he started getting into his thing, and he talked for an hour and was just pacing the stage, but not really looking out at the audience, sort of looking down. And I don't really even know how to describe it. But I'll say this. The audience was giving him applause breaks. with points that he'd make that they really agreed with.
Mhm.
I looked around and people were nodding their heads solemnly as if it was church.
Literally, that was my thought.
Yeah, like it was church. People were so excited and so hyped to see him that a lot of them were secretly filming, at which point ushers would come along with a sort of blinking flashlight and pick them out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they'd be annoyed because they desperately wanted this secret footage of his speech or whatever.
He desperately wanted this secret footage.
I mean, dude, I was so baffled by this whole thing. I was trying really hard to understand what was going on. I don't know if I am the dumbest person at that thing or if every single other person is equally dumb for thinking that they understood what was going on.
Right.
And I didn't, and I was right. It's one or the other. And I'm totally open to the idea that I might have been the dumbest person there. I really am. It made no sense for an hour. It made no sense for an hour. Dude, what he talked about, and listen, this is not me coming down on Jordan Peterson.
Yo, let him have it, bro. Let him have it.
Maybe I need to be more familiar with his work. Maybe there's some kind of like secret map rubric that I needed to unlock the codes of his strange parcel tongue speech. But it was meandering. It was unfinished points. It was left turns for an hour.
Like Kanye on Rogan.
I even worse because, you know, he used huge words and it was really hard to understand what he was talking about. And I like to think that I am equipped to understand most people when they're speaking in English. And it wasn't just the huge words. It was as if he was speaking in the most confusing way for the sake of confusing his audience just enough where they would take on faith what he was saying.
Right. Make them feel beneath him the way that they want to.
Or to let them interpret what he was saying their own way and then think that he had inspired them or something.
So what the fuck was he talking about? You have no idea?
All right. I mean, okay. The end was more clear, but the first half hour really did not make any sense. It was about determinism and sort of the difference between, I guess, like genetic determinism, which, as I understand it, is that, you know, we're made up of molecules and atoms, and that are what we do and our actions are kind of coded into our DNA on an animal level. Something like that.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if that was his point or if he was citing another thinker who he disagreed with, because he set the whole thing up having said that he had like gone and debated with a very prominent scientist and then some other big thinker.
Dude, any like sort of like social construct human theory, like you just immediately lose me at that. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like fucking, what was that guy? I don't know. Like it just reminds me of freshman year of college, like reading this nonsense. I'm like, dude, these theories, who wasted their whole life writing these fucking theories?
It's weird because I want to say that he must have been right in some regard, because I just don't see how you can get a following of the size that he does and of the commitment that he has without having some sort of, you know, grounding in reality.
Narcissism.
Or it's having a point, right? Without having a point. Because what I saw last night, granted it's only a 1 hour snippet of his talking and his thinking, but what I saw, if that is what his work is, then I don't believe it. I don't believe any of it. Because what I saw, let me tell you something. I haven't watched someone lecture like that since college, right?
You're right.
This is what happened. It transported me back to college. And I remember being in lectures in college and thinking, man, this is confusing. This is hard.
Right. Dense
taking
and
notes.
boring.
Yeah, we're talking, you know, I took The Origins of Modern Wars with Stephen Walt, who's like the preeminent scholar on the Arab-Israeli conflict. Very controversial, but he talks about like, war theory and all this very, Sun Tzu or whatever, like
Art of War.
Art of War. So, really just conceptually difficult war theory. And I took this class and it was hard, but I understood it.
Mm-hmm.
I understood it. Last night, I didn't understand any of it. I didn't really understand any of it. I mean, there are all these allusions to chimpanzees and rat scientist experiments.
You did this yesterday?
Yeah, last night.
Crazy, bro.
And but it didn't prove anything to me. It's not like he set up a thesis and then cited evidence and said, this is my conclusion. There was no real logical arc to it.
Yeah. To me, like, I haven't been able to really put anything together based on the description so far either.
I don't think I'm helping, and I apologize.
No, I don't. Maybe that's the point, is that like there's no point to really be made.
But then he got a standing ovation.
I mean, they must, dude.
And these people were rapt.
It must have just needed context, dude. They clearly knew what he was talking about because they were like big fans or whatever. You came in blind, and the determinism of rats versus human cells.
There was one point he was making a couple points. One point he made was that, psychopaths, which we've talked about in societies, don't succeed because in society, something like, in some society, the occurrence of psychopaths is like around 3% of every society's population across countries. And some societies have 1% and some have 5%, but if it goes up to 5%, then the normal people flatten them down to 3%, something like that. And he said you would think that from a societal perspective, being a psychopath would actually be an advantage from I guess like a Darwinian point of view. But it's not. And if psychopaths don't work, and then this thing doesn't work, and this thing, then, and I think he said something like, then being a good person is the right move or something. Or like working together.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't extrapolate the message. I couldn't pick out the point.
Dude, when I was sitting there like 5 minutes into this, I would have just started having PTSD like when I was in school and class just started and you like needed it to be over or you were just going to malfunction and you just look up at that clock and see there's 55 minutes left and like I just wanted to cry. That's what I'm envisioning here. I would have gotten so jittery.
It's funny. I did get very itchy. And I started fidgeting,
dude.
But that's not to say that I lost my
stressing me out, dude.
That's not to say that I lost my focus, because I was so interested by how everyone else was so interested,
mm-hmm.
and I was, and
you,
I thought
you had no idea what this was going to be. Why would you go? I'm having trouble imagining convincing you to go to something that you don't know about when you could just be home instead. Like knowing you as well as I do, was it like? Whoever took you would add context, I'm sure.
Yeah, and also that I thought that we might meet him, and I knew I know he's sort of a pop culture, intellectual, and
that was
I never go see speakers. I don't see social commentary or social scientists or whatever it is. And to be honest, I thought it would be more stirring. I thought it was going to be kind of a Tony Robbins or I don't know who else you'd even put in this category. But I know he's got a humongous following and people really subscribe to this guy. And I was curious. I was just curious. And I went up there and couldn't get it. Could not get it. And again, I'm sorry. The reason I throw this all out there, by the way, is because if there is a devout Jordan Peterson disciple listening right now, please, God, message me and give me just like the spark notes. Give me some kind of, tell me I'm dumb, whatever, I don't care, but just tell me what's the point? What is the point that he's trying to make? he gets in trouble a lot for all this gender stuff, I think.
Really?
And he went viral years ago for explaining to a trans person why he didn't think that them having their own pronouns was good for them. But I tried to watch a few minutes of this clip on YouTube, and it's just them yelling at each other, and I couldn't watch it. It made me so tense that I couldn't watch any more of it.
Dude, seeing like, now that the pandemic is like whatever matured, it's
nice word.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see comedians like hop on the like anti-vax bandwagon because they think it'll further their career. Like people who like beforehand were the complete opposite person in comedy, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, this works, I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna like be really loud about this, I'm getting attention. And sometimes I don't know anything about this guy, but like having a shouting match with a trans person about their pronouns like seems like that sort of behavior to me.
Let me revise. In the clip, he's not really shouting.
Okay.
The trans person is accosting him for the fact that he has made life harder for them, and he is responding and trying to explain his stance.
Okay.
But again, I didn't make it all the way through the video because it was just there was so much interrupting going on that it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, this sounds stressful. This sounds like one of those things where like when you're in the crowd, like I've never actually been to one of these kind of things, but like I'll see videos. Like I watched the Tony Robbins documentary, and it was like kind of just like disturbing how into it everybody was. And I know that like I have friends who are like really into it, and it's like helped them their lives. So I'm not like criticizing it, but like you get this vibe as you look around the room. You're like, oh, he could bang everybody in this room.
Yeah, but didn't he?
Regardless of gender.
Didn't he get in trouble for?
I don't know. Probably
some of that stuff.
Maybe, I don't know.
Ryan, can you look up?
He's still going strong.
Tony Robbins, sexual misconduct, whatever it is.
But dude, it reminded me. Remember Jimmy Jones, the like Georgetown fucking Guyana thing.
No,
the guy. Okay,
I
this
was
is the
thinking
guy.
of the sandwich maker.
No, this is the guy who he like had this cult in South America in Guyana. And he like convinced everybody in the cult to drink poison. They all killed themselves.
Drink the Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah, is that where that
I think that's
phrase
where that
comes from? Oh,
yeah.
wow, interesting. Mm-hmm. But he used to bang everybody, including the guys.
Well, that's how it always is.
The women and the men. And the men weren't gay. And they were like, yeah, like he banged me. Like it was. And then they were like sort of talking about it. They're like, did he bang you too? Like, it was like, yeah, it was like crazy.
Whoopsie
What's up,
daisies.
So Tony Robbins was accused of sexually assaulting a high schooler at a summer camp. He was visiting as a guest star, and there's no verdict, but there was one accuser and two eyewitnesses.
Just the one incident?
Seems to be. This is the one that's popping up.
There's
This was in November
pending.
2019 when this article came out.
Okay.
Pending.
Well,
dude, it's interesting sometimes these guys, these like theoretical guys, they come up with this shit. It must be frustrating being from a marginalized group. And by the way, I'm not trying to sound like some fucking pussy right now, but like, because they can come off that way. And to be honest, even when I like see comedians purposely like not being controversial, I'm sort of like, dude, what? Like, this is annoying. So anyway, so I want to make that point. But like, if you're sitting there making up like these theories about like other people, like that's got to be really annoying for those groups of people.
mm-hmm.
You're like, why are you just like, who are you to decide what's good for me and what like.
Yeah.
I can understand why that's frustrating. Out of context, like it's not surprising to me that the person was screaming at him.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. I wish I knew more. I wish I could offer more about my experience with Jordan Peterson. By the way, I had to leave. The Q&A went on and I had to leave because I had a spot, so I didn't get to meet him, which was sort of the point of me going.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So what is he? So what did you take? Like what, dude? What fuck was he talking about? We don't know at all. You don't know at all.
I think the end point had something to do with just existence and the way we interact with each other. And I think if I could sum it up, it was, try to be more positive and try to be better. And
That's a good message.
yeah, I dude, I mean, I maybe that's just me laying my own, print on the whole thing though. I don't know. It was the end. There was a crescendo in the end and he started crying on stage.
Jesus.
And it had something, talking about kind of how we're heading towards war and all this, but things aren't that bad. And
so I'm not. So he's that. So from that, he doesn't sound particularly controversial at all.
somehow, I think that if you had gone, you would have understood it better than I did.
Interesting.
I feel like this stuff is more accessible to you.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
And I mean that as a compliment.
No, I'm not taking
Like,
it as not.
I don't know if I'm just too basic in my thinking and I try to break everything down to its most basic parts. But I feel like you would have been able to read between the lines and sort of translate what he was saying into a broader message. And it just, again, I mean, it was as if they'd been given individual copies of the Bible for the first time. This guy was so clearly had them eating out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this guy doesn't even seem like he's trying.
Right.
This isn't, it's stumbling. It's not coherent. It feels unrehearsed. He would start a point and not finish it and interrupt himself. He would always say things like, I've studied this a lot. And it's like, well, you're just saying that. I mean, we don't know.
Ryan, can we look him up?
Look up Jordan Peterson. Again,
give me the scoop. Like this conversation has gone on for too long for me to have no fucking idea what this guy's deal is. I want to know what his deal is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, as we're doing that, I have an unbelievable story for you.
Oh, amazing.
Unbelievable. But let's hear from Ryan.
Okay, so the blurb is Jordan Peterson is a Canadian clinical psychologist, YouTuber personality, author, and a professor at the University of Toronto. He began to receive widespread attention in the late 2010s for his views on cultural and political issues. I also was looking earlier. It's mostly the transgender stuff that is the controversy.
And
like
what
you said?
So it was that. I sometimes wonder with stuff like that because you can have one that controversial thing may not be like an accurate representation of like what that guy does. You know what I mean? I don't want to like pigeonhole him as
I don't know if that's his whole platform.
Because especially if you're like an academic, again, I don't know. I apologize if anybody has any more insight about this, but like he, when you're doing this like theoretical shit, you know what I mean? Like you can be sort of like savagely pragmatic, and like say offensive things.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I don't know, whatever.
Anything else, Ryan, on him? That's it?
Yeah, that would be it. What are you looking for?
Well, what's his point? What is he doing? What's he doing up there? What did he say to me, Ryan?
Nothing.
What did he say to me last night?
He texted you.
How come I missed it and everyone else got it? People were yelling out, "We love you, Dr. Peterson." Then someone yelled out, "Peterson 2025." We were all like, dude, that's not
pump
when
the brakes,
the election
pal.
is.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Anyway.
Not going to be able to find a blurb for you, but it's
okay. That's sufficient.
He is a traditionalist, if that helps.
Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of that, dude. I don't like the sound of that. I'm not allowed to wear my mascara at the dinner table with Dr. Peterson.
Uh-huh. All right. Let me tell you this.
Okay.
So I went to Telluride, Colorado.
Oh yeah, dude. But it appears that the après ski outfit was a hit.
Sure was.
That's funny.
Sure was. People were happy. People were excited for the outfit.
Dude, can I tell you something? Sorry, real quick. Somebody sent me the video of you in the vest. And they go, is Francis being serious with this vest? And my response was, kinda. Like he's actually not fully being serious, but he also is. And I don't think that they meant it in like an offensive way, but I was like, this is the classic Ellis move. towing the line between
living
satire and reality.
living with one foot in the upside down and one foot in the regular world. That's where I like to be. I like to straddle the line between absurdity and, normalcy. All right, so get this, dude. Telluride, Colorado is the coolest town that I've ever been to in America.
Have you been before?
No.
Cool.
It's hard to get to. You got to fly to Denver, and then you take a 31-minute flight from Denver to Montrose, Colorado, and then you have to drive an hour and a half from Montrose to Telluride.
Cool. Well, do you know where in Colorado it is?
I want to say like South Central, but that may be just because I watched the Super Bowl halftime show recently, and South Central LA is on my mind.
Right on.
But it's hard. It's far away, and it's very preserved. It's a mining town. They have a really cool sign that says there are more than 350 miles of tunnels through the mountains around Telluride that have been mining gold and iron and ore and copper since the 1800s, and they are still actively mined today.
May I insert something
Yeah.
really quickly for discussion? I was thinking about this as I was playing Zelda, but every single fantasy world, there's always like a mining town. The people mining are always small and like not that intelligent, but hard workers. They're this like sort of rude portrayal of blue collar workers. Why is that? Why is like the mine?
Well, isn't it like the Lord of the Rings? The
dwarves are a good
dwarves?
example.
I have no idea. I don't know why they'd be short. I mean, maybe because the tunnels are low.
Right, that would make sense. That's actually, yeah. And then also, I guess to like work underground, you have to have some sort of like edge and toughness to yourself. No light. You're doing hard physical work.
Right.
Picking away at raw stone.
Swinging an axe.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know. That's a good question. But Telluride, you get there, and the town is sort of sits at the bottom of this bowl of mountain ranges that frame it so beautifully, and it's really dramatic. I mean,
does it feel unique? Like the setup?
It's unlike any place I've ever been.
Wow.
And because the mountains are snow-capped peaks with rock. They're not just grassy green big mountains. They're like the Alps. It's like looking at Mont Blanc or something. And they're close. They're really close. So it's like you drop straight down into the town. And then there's one main street that has, it feels like it hasn't been changed in 300 years.
Cool.
And you've got saloons, basically, and you could almost hear the spurs of the boots of some cowboy bandit who has just ridden into town, stepping in through the doors. Everyone goes quiet. Somebody whistles, and then the bartender slides him a bottle of whiskey and then drops below the bar. Stuff like that. I mean, it really is. It's like this Western mining ski town. And truly spectacular, amazing food, great restaurants, really good vibe. Everyone's nice. There's no aversion to the tourists. People embrace it, and I think my guess would be that's because there really aren't that many, because it's so hard to get to.
Interesting. Okay.
It's not like Aspen. It's not like Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole, they don't like outsiders.
Really?
The locals don't.
Jackson Hole is like not super easy to get to, is it?
No, but you can fly to Jackson, Wyoming.
Directly?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Cool.
And I'm gonna throw something out there. I think it's a perfect thing to say, given that you're wearing the Jackson Hole shirt. I have now changed my dream place from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, to Telluride, Colorado.
Wow. This is a big moment.
We've got a new place that I hope to have a place someday. Yeah.
Sponsored ski destination.
That's right.
Cool, man.
Telluride is the new Jackson Hole as far as Francis's stance on his podcast. However, or last piece, they have a gondola that runs. So there's like there's the ski mountain is right there, but you kind of have to go over a peak to drop down into the mountain village, which is where the base of the ski mountain is. And there's another kind of more ski centric area there that feels a little more like Vail or Beaver Creek or whatever. With ski rental places and most of the lifts are coming from there. But if you were to drive it, I think it's like 10 minutes.
Okay.
But there is a gondola that runs from the base of the town of Telluride up the hill and then down into the ski town. So the town is connected to the mountain via a gondola. Are you following
That's
me?
the only way to get there?
No, you could drive.
Right.
But the gondola is awesome.
So, but why not just drive? I'm just wondering.
So you don't have to park a car, and you just
so it's
put
easier to park outside of the town, is what you're saying.
The town is where you stay. The town, it has the shops and the restaurants and everything.
Yeah.
The mountain village is kind of just where you rent your skis and go shopping for ski stuff, and
Okay.
it's a little more kind of development.
Okay, so the gondola goes from the town to the mountain town.
It connects the two.
Got it.
And you can you walk from your home in your ski boots, get on the gondola, go up the gondola, and you're at the ski mountain.
Got it.
Even better, there's a restaurant at the top of the gondola, which we took the gondola to for dinner one night. And dude, I can't even tell you how cool it is to go to a restaurant in a gondola.
That is cool.
The only thing that even comes close is going to a restaurant in a boat.
Mm-hmm.
We were all sitting in this gondola,
Chopping it up.
Yeah, just chopping it up, watching the town kind of get smaller and smaller beneath us. And there was still enough light to see the peaks around us. And, you get drunk and then you just take the gondola down. Don't have to worry about driving,
Nice,
Ubers,
yeah,
nothing like that. It's awesome.
That's cool.
But on the first night that we were there, Thursday night, we went out to dinner in the town. And we're walking along the main street. It's Thursday night, so it's quiet. Not much going on. Not many people there yet. There's a bar called the New Sheridan Hotel. It's a bar, but it's old. And these people came out of the bar and they were screaming at each other. These guys. And we sort of stopped. Someone's like, "Fuck you!" Screaming. And someone is trying to break them up or whatever. The one guy is doing the screaming. The other guy is sort of not reacting or trying to get away from him. The guy who's doing the screaming puts up his hands okay, I get it. I'll calm down. And then we watched him circle around the back of the guy that was holding him apart into an area that had stools, outdoor seating. It was a little patio area on the street. And he picked up a metal chair and came back and tried to bash the guy over the head with it. Oh my
God.
And that's when we were like, "Oh, wow, this isn't stopping."
Oh shit.
And so now we're fully stopped and watching. Keep in mind, there are no cars going by. So now they're in the middle of the street. He knocks the guy down somehow, and then he's now trying to hit him with a chair. Like fucking WWE, but it's not, your typical folding metal chair. It's a hardy wooden metal stool.
Jeez.
And the guy's on the ground and he's scrabbling around because the road's kind of icy. And then the guy gets on top of him and starts punching him in the face. And that's when I turned.
The chair guy was being punched in the face?
No, the chair guy was doing all the attacking.
Got it.
And for some reason.
Had he been yelling "fuck you" as well?
Yeah, he was doing all the aggressing.
So what did this other guy do? It's unclear.
We have no idea.
The other guy was just putting his hands up?
Well, he was trying to defend himself the whole time. But not really trying to fight
De-escalate,
back.
yeah.
But he wasn't, I don't know that I would say he wasn't being like, "Dude, relax." It almost felt like he knew he had done something really wrong.
Right.
And was just trying to escape.
Right.
That's sort of how I read the situation. Yeah. So for some reason.
Did they seem like they are friends normally?
I don't think so. I did not feel like they were from the same group.
Okay.
That was there. But I turned to my buddy, who's a big guy. You know him.
Yes.
Bigger than I am.
Big guy.
probably got like 20 pounds on me.
He's a big guy.
And I was like, should we do something? And our, Sierra and his girlfriend were there with us. And he was like, I don't know, but maybe. And we watched. And then when the guy got on top of him and nobody on their side was like trying to even break it up anymore. It was like the person who was trying to hold them apart gave up and said, I'm just going to call the police instead and let them go. I was like, yeah, I think we have to do something. And I ran out into the street and I grabbed the guy who had his hand cocked back. I grabbed him by the collar.
Oh my God.
And pulled him and was like, stop, what are you doing? Stop, chill out, man. And I pulled him off and he looked up at me with his hand cocked because he thought I was probably, and instantly calmed down.
Oh, wow.
He goes, I'm chill.
You could have caught one. You could have caught one.
I know. And he was like, I'm cool, man. And then my buddy came up too, and we stood in between them, and he was like, it's all good. It's all good, guys. Like, and he had this wolf look in his eyes, though. You could see the bloodlust slowly draining out of his face. And he goes,
wolf.
Dude, he goes, you guys are big guys. I'm not he goes, you guys know me. I'm not a fighter. Swear to God.
We don't know anything, dude.
He clearly had immediately deflated when he saw that we were bigger than he was, and then tried to like rally us to his side or something. I don't even know what was it going on in his head, but he was like, I'm not a fighter. He was he was wearing his ski pants with his bib suspenders over his shoulders. So he had clearly come from the mountain to the bar. And he looked ridiculous and was probably pretty drunk or whatever, but he was like trying to convince us like, this isn't who I am. I'm chill. You guys get it. We were like, no, dude, we didn't. We just saw you try to kill that guy with a stool.
It's the guy, the altitude.
Yeah. And then he starts like, we were like, dude, you got to get out of here. You're going to get in big trouble. He goes, no. He goes, could you do me a favor? I dropped my jacket. Could you go get it for me? And I'm like, okay. And I walked out into the street where I found this red fleece that was just lying in the middle of the street. And I picked it up and brought it over to him. And he takes it and he drops it on the ground. He goes, that's not mine.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, I don't know whose this is.
Was he drunk?
Yeah, I think so. But like, it was so volatile. The anger that he had to the kind of like, I'm chill, that wasn't me, you guys know me, like trying to just saying shit.
He's like, so what are we doing now, dude?
Yeah, like you guys want to go for, almost asked us, it felt like he was about to ask
next round's on me.
Let's go get some soup or something, But then the cops came. And there was enough people kind of milling around now, and they pulled out their flashlights. They're always out with their flashlights. And they're like, all right, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. And the guy who'd been knocked down was still kind of like lying around. So they went over to him first. We're over on the other side of the street with the guy in the ski bib, the aggressor, the wolf. And I go, dude, you need to get the fuck out of here. You're going to get arrested. And he wouldn't listen to us. He kept being like, it's okay. I just need to get my jacket. I'm like, that jacket's gone.
Yeah.
You got to leave that jacket.
There's an 8-ball in that jacket.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted.
And then the cops shined their light over by us. And they were like, hang on a second. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, are we going to get in trouble? Are we going to be, mislabeled, misfingered as part of this? But fortunately, I think because we had our ladies with us, they knew, we had nothing to do with it, and they grabbed the guy, and then we just walked to the restaurant. And the next night, I asked the bartender at that bar what had happened. He said both of them had spent the night in jail.
So even the guy who got his ass kicked?
Yeah.
Damn.
And it's an old mining town. I bet you that jail is one cell. I bet
they were just together.
Wrought iron bars, and I just pictured, the guy's buddies pulling up behind it with like a tractor or 6 horses and tying bunch of ropes to the wall and pulling the bricks off and letting him escape.
So he was
over the
punching
hills.
the guy in the face.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Dude, it was really violent. And
Dude, the amount of this is becoming a recurring theme, like Francis in Destinations breaking up fights.
is it?
Yes, this is not the first breaking up of the fight story you've told. There's one in Italy. You broke up the fight. There's this one.
Yeah, but
there's
Italy,
another one too.
This was so much more violent than
Dude, yeah,
the
I know,
Italy
but you're
thing.
like suddenly completely in the middle of this altercation.
You know, it just to me is as simple as this. For some reason, people don't get involved.
You have no problem rolling your sleeves up and getting in the mix.
Well, if I hadn't, that guy would have been really hurt. What
Yeah.
are you gonna? Somebody has to do something.
Yeah.
If they had just been kind of wrestling around and there was no clear threat to either one of their harm or something, I don't know. Maybe I probably wouldn't have given a shit.
Yeah,
but
it's
one guy
jarring.
was so set on hurting the other guy,
Yeah.
and the other guy was so not trying to fight.
And we never got to the bottom of what happened.
No, I asked the bartender, and he didn't. I don't even think he knew. But here's the thing, dude. When we were walking away, my buddy's girlfriend said something like, that was actually pretty hot, that to her guy.
Oh,
Like that you guys went out and did that. And I later asked Sierra, I was like, did you like that I went and did that? And she said, not really.
She didn't dislike it. It just didn't stir her pot the same way.
I don't think it meant anything to her. And I'm like, well, what the fuck was the point?
That is great.
And not only that, and my buddy will confirm this.
That is great.
I led the charge. I had them separated and had pulled the guy off before my buddy arrived.
He's reaping the benefits of your bravery.
And
dude.
my buddy gave me all the credit. He was like, you were the one that went out there. I wasn't necessarily going to do it. I'm surprised that you got as involved and it just like blindly rushed in. And, because there was a possibility that one of the guy's friend, it turns into a melee. And one of his buddies thinks that I'm attacking, and then he comes at me.
You get socked.
Whatever it is. The other threat, and this is not as much of a threat, probably in a fucking ski town with a guy that is wearing a Rossignol Gore-Tex ski pants. But when I was a kid, there was a story of this guy at Bates College in Maine who it's like 45 minutes from where I grew up. I think he was a local Maine guy. He was on the lacrosse team, and he was in downtown Lewiston, which used to be really bad. It's getting better, but it was really bad to the extent that they would tell students, like, don't leave campus.
Oh, damn.
And he was out one night and saw a fight break out, and he went over to break it up, and he got stabbed and killed.
Jeez. Why was it so crimey?
It's just poor. I think they're poor, opioids,
Drugs,
stuff like that. I don't know exactly. It's getting better, but it was an old industrial like mill town, and then all those mills went out of business, and the town kind of went downhill. But it was a very cautionary tale, and it was one that was everyone said like you never know, and I had that image in my head of like I'm gonna run out there, this guy's gonna pull out a fucking ski tuning tool from his pocket and stab me with it, and then now
the wolf.
That was the fear. Now there's one other thing that I want to tell you. For a split second, I had the thought of, should I tell Sierra to film what's about to happen?
I'm
so aware of content developing.
I thought you were saying like as an alibi, just in case.
Well, yeah, it's two thoughts. It's one, me running out there. If I get smoked in the face, at least there will be a record that I was trying to break up the fight, and I won't get in trouble, right? But two, if something interesting happens, that goes viral. Like, what could be better for my career? And I know this is, look, I'm just laying all my cards on the table here. What could be better for my career than some video going viral of me being peacekeeper?
Yeah, no, totally. I guess there's definitely potential for something very funny and Francis-like to happen.
Yeah.
Like you would, if you got socked in the face, you would make that funny.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Or just, just calming people down and making the world a better place. Look at this good guy. Problem is then I'd get milkshake ducked. Do you know that term?
What's that?
That's when you do something good or go viral for something good, and then someone else, because you're going viral, comes out and is like, actually, that guy was my old boss, and he used to
like the guy
whip his dick out when we would have board meetings.
Like, remember the guy who rescued those like captured people in Ohio? He like happened to be walking by and saw somebody be like,
That's it.
"Arr!"
Yeah,
and then like a
that's
week
it.
later, they're like, oh, that guy's actually a dirtbag.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The other one was Jensen Karp, who went viral for, I think, finding weird things in his cinnamon toast crunch.
What?
Like shrimp tails. That's what it was.
Oh my God.
Remember this?
No.
Jensen Karp, by the way, he's like he wrote he wrote a book called Kanye West Owes Me $300. He was like a rapper, really interesting, funny guy. And he married Topanga from Boy Meets World. And he's written on a bunch of shows and stuff like that. And
He got discovered with the shrimp.
he posted just a tweet saying like he'd found what looks like shrimp tails, cinnamon toast crunch covered shrimp tails in
my
his
God.
bowl of cinnamon toast crunch. And it went super viral. And then everyone, like 2 or 3 women
that's
came
funny.
out, were like, actually, he's my old boyfriend, and he was really abusive in what he would say to me, and like it was tried to hold power over me, and it like was a terrible look. And it's like, well, if I'd never found shrimp tails in my thing, then maybe nobody would care. So that's milkshake ducking.
Milkshake. What is the
I have no idea.
root of that term?
I don't know.
Hilarious. Milkshake.
There's some term for it. Yeah.
Dude, when fucking what's it called? Do you ever hear the story from Graham K? Like Graham K, who was on an early episode of ours, he like witnessed a shooting one time. I don't know if he actually saw the shooting, but he like heard the gunshots and then like looked out the window to see what was happening. And he said, and I just picture this when the cop showed up to your situation, but like the most stereotypical thing of all time happened when the cop showed up. There's a big circle of people. The cops show up. The guy gets out, pulls up his pants, and he looks around. And he goes, "Let me guess, no one saw nothing." I was like, that actually happened.
Wait, the guy who had done the shooting?
No, the cop. Let me guess, no one saw nothing. That's like the classic police,
yeah.
cop thing to do.
It's like
"Ah,"
something someone would
this
say in
ornery
21
cop.
Jump Street. Yeah.
Yeah. So no one saw nothing, right? Not gonna make my life easier here. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not far off what these cops did. They
Right.
came out of there. They were driving like a Tahoe, a
Mhm.
police car SUV. It was cool.
That was
They got out. They had their flashlights, and they were like, "All right, everybody, hang on a second." That's what they said. Hang on,
Hang on
because
a
people were like, "Oh, the cops are here. Let's slowly fade away." And no sense of urgency, no rush. They know they're gonna get their man.
Yeah.
Town that small, word
Yeah.
travels fast.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, dude, I had my hero fantasy. That's close.
Yeah, it's close.
That's close. Me breaking up a fight. I just needed Sierra to film it without me asking her, because if me asking her then undoes the good deed.
And it also undoes that was hot, which you didn't get anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, she wasn't going to film it because clearly it just had no interest to her. As far as I can tell, she was window shopping for fucking coats and not even watching this unfold. I got no credit
love that.
from my fiance. I got no credit from the internet. And
You got nothing, pal.
I got absolutely nothing.
You got nothing.
Which begs the question, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why am I breaking up fights? Why am I putting myself in harm's way?
Yeah, dude, you just like getting in the mix, dude. You like it. You're down.
I don't like unfair situations unfolding in front of me. This felt unfair. Felt one-sided.
Mm.
Felt like one guy didn't want anything to do with it and the other guy did.
You're
And
like fucking Batman, dude. Keeper of the peace.
I don't even know what the story would have needed to be about how this started for me to say, okay, yeah, that guy deserves a beating, you know?
Mm.
I don't think there's really much. I mean, even if he'd said, well, that guy, grabbed my girlfriend's butt or something in the bar,
Right.
I would have probably still been like, fine, but, don't fight in the street over it.
Right.
Like, I'm still breaking that up.
Did I ever tell you guys this story about Iraq with the catcalling guy? I don't think I did. Okay, this is kind of crazy. And it's like similar to this, but it felt super like innocent in this way that was like kind of weird. All right, so we were in Babylon, and there's this maze that you can like go on top of the maze and like jump from like one side to the other.
It was like a parkour training ground, or
Yeah, like not actually, but yes, like you're like 7 or 8 feet above the ground. If you were to fall, you'd probably be fine. But like it's also super narrow. Like you can step over these things.
okay.
You can also hop, but you could just take a big step and be able to.
Can
do
you
it.
skip?
You can also skip.
Mm.
In fact, skipping would likely be the preferred method.
But better than hopping.
Yeah, skipping
Okay.
is. I can show you. It's gonna be in my video. Yeah, that's it. Let's take a peek. Pretty cool, right?
That does look like a place to skip.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Ryan, for that. So one of the
Chris thought about laughing, but he didn't have it all the way there. I watched the corners of your lip curl up in a little smile.
curly Q. So dude, she was about to jump. She was afraid to jump. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you who.
Yeah, what?
The girl we were with was afraid to jump.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm scared." And there were these sort of like onlooker guy, like sort of like they seemed like teenagers with the way that they were behaving. They were kind of angsty, but like maybe they were even a little older. It was unclear. But they started yelling things out, and apparently one of them was like offensive. And I saw her husband get kind of upset,
Mm.
and all the guy yelled was, "You can use me as a bridge," which isn't even that bad.
That's what he said as a cat call?
Yes, which I learned later. "You can use me as a bridge" was the most offensive thing that he said. And the police got involved,
Shut up.
but in this way that was crazy. So somebody told on him, and like 20 minutes later, we're still navigating through Babylon. These people are kind of around near us too. The cops show up, start screaming at this kid. Ah, da, 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 da. They essentially grab him by the ear.
Oh my
Like it
God.
felt like second grade, and bring him over and make him apologize to the girl. Wow. And they go, "Apologize." And he was like super embarrassed, and he goes, "I'm really sorry." And then the cop put his hand on his shoulder, and he was like, "Good for you. You were the big man today." And that was the end of it. The police got involved to do that. Can you imagine?
Well, no, but
I was like, you would not hack it in New York.
I
sweetheart.
actually think that is really well handled.
Right? Isn't that really nice?
Yeah.
I was like, this is like the most wholesome thing I've ever experienced all around the board, across the board.
Is it, because it's like an honor-based society and you shouldn't be talking to
It's a conservative
a man's wife
society. Probably.
in any way like that?
Maybe. I mean, dude, but these people are like super secular. The couple, very, very secular. She sounded like she was wearing a hoodie and jeans. You know what I mean? So it was surprising that they got so upset. But then I was like, yeah, this is just some cultural shit. Like,
Right, of
you know what I
course.
mean? But like, think about how many worse things you've heard walking down the street.
No, I
here.
know. I'm just trying to think if there was, something in their past where I don't know if they had like children or something and they were hiking one day and trying to cross a river and the mom was like, "Here, you can use me as a bridge." And as she was doing it, she stumbled and one of the kids fell and got swept away.
Yeah,
Therefore,
none of that.
it was very traumatic to them and triggered them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was none of that. It was just like,
You know that? They told you that?
I know that they don't. I know them. I was with them the entire time. I know for a fact they don't have kids. Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
No, they definitely
They
have
lost the only one they had.
They have never had kids.
down the river.
I know that they've never had kids. That's funny though. But dude, young and cool, and yeah, it was surprising. It was weird.
Interesting. Well, okay, that's my story about Telluride.
Dude, I love it. So let me ask you this. So it sounds like you've been to most of the sort of big mountains now out west. Are there any that you have not yet been to that you're like,
Yeah, I haven't been to Big Sky, Montana.
I was thinking, I was going to ask
I'd
that,
like to
actually.
go there. I think that's another one that's off the beaten path, preserved, has a cool vibe, is my guess. There's certainly a few out in British Columbia that I'd like to go to.
Yeah.
Banff.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that
I'd
too.
like to check Banff out. I've been to Whistler a few times. Whistler's
Whistler's
incredible.
sick, right?
Whistler's probably the best ski mountain in the world, as far as I can tell. It's insane. It's enormous.
Really?
It's just immense. There's Blackcomb and Whistler. They're connected via a gondola, of all things. And each mountain is just huge. So that's really cool.
What
And
about
then,
Alaska?
yeah,
It's not like known for skiing though, but there are ski mountains.
there's a very good mountain in Alaska called Alyeska.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Have you?
Yeah.
And apparently it's really cool because I think the ocean is right at the base of it. So you ski down and it kind of looks like you're going to ski into the ocean.
Yes. It's not actually, but like it's really high up at the top and there's a beautiful view and like I can see why that would be the
Interesting.
case. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a nice, the resort is like pretty nice too.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to get out there. You know, I've always wanted to do someday a true heli skiing trip. I know it's super expensive, but they have amazing sort of like week-long or 4-day long heli skiing trips in Chile.
Oh shit.
Where, you know, they have a sick lodge and it's all your meals are covered. It's all under one package and you do, you know, 20,000 feet of vertical skiing. It's like 6 or 7 runs a day.
Crazy.
And
They just drop you out of a fucking.
Yeah, it's all curated for you.
How dangerous is it?
Well, I think you have guides who know the lines and they say like, all right, ski to the left of the line that we're going to set. Otherwise you'll go into a crevasse or
An avalanche.
whatever it is. Yeah. And you've got full avalanche gear. You've got the beacon and the airbags and all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely scary, but.
Have you ever done it?
No, I've cat skied before.
What is that?
That's where similar idea. It's like you get taken up a mountain in a snowcat, and then you get fresh runs every time.
Oh,
but
cool.
it takes longer, obviously, than a helicopter, and you don't get to get to such untouched places as you do with a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
But
Makes
it's
sense.
much less expensive.
Interesting.
I would like to do that. I would like to do some true heli skiing, I think. And then other places in America. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that Mammoth. I don't know. Out in California, potentially. I've never been to Tahoe, Squaw.
Okay.
Some of these places maybe someday I'll get to. But
Cool.
dude, if I could, I would buy a house in Telluride for sure.
Sick, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, also the verdict is out. Apparently the Bills fans have spoken and they accept you.
They do. They just said that I have to jump through a table.
I didn't understand that.
That's their kind
I've
of
heard
bar
that.
mitzvah. Yeah. That's how they christen you. A Bills
You get
fan.
thrown through a table?
No, their big, rite of passage is jumping off of a trailer at a
Oh, it's like a
tailgate
tailgating thing?
and through a table. That's the big thing that they were. That's what they went viral for.
It's
Bills
like
Mafia.
It's like baptism.
Yeah.
Bills
You
baptism.
jump through like a WWE.
Dude, there's some content for you, dude.
Yeah. Go up to Buffalo for a game, jump through a table, get crowned a true Bills fan. I might even
Fraternize with the
get a
locals.
tattoo.
Sick, dude.
A Bills tattoo.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
That'd be the only tattoo. And then they would have to accept me,
Well, it's not. Yeah, you're on a good path for acceptance. It seems like at this point.
They were so nice. Everyone was so nice. They said, "Yeah, we'll have you. You just got to jump through a table." I said, "Absolutely, I will."
That's sick, dude.
Yeah.
So, dude, I had this thought. I was talking to somebody who we both know yesterday, and I've noticed that he does this.
We've started. We keep name dropping people in anonymity.
And we don't know who either of us are talking about, which is
Yeah.
funny. But every time I see this guy, he like leads with a story of failure. How like, and a lot of the time it will be like a perceived failure. It isn't even a real failure. Like I'll be listening to the story and I'll be like, dude, if you just had a different attitude about this story you're about to tell me, like if this story would be completely different. And like, I know what he's trying to do. Like he's trying to be self-deprecating because like, there's something like endearing about self-deprecation to a degree,
Yeah.
but like not when you're just making it up. I'm just like, dude, you're a pussy. Like you need to step it up.
You know that he's making it up.
No, he's not making it up, but like it's a perception thing. Like sometimes it's like you catch an L and there's no way around that. Like if you had gotten socked in the jaw when you were breaking up that fight, there's no way for that story to not be like, oh, you got punched in the face.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas this guy will tell me a story as if it was something like that he was really bad and that it was bad. And I'm like, dude, this is like beta energy, dude. Like you need to get it together. Like stop being such a pussy, dude. Like I want to like tell him that. And actually I have the kind of relationship with him that I can tell him that. And I've almost sort of told him that before.
Huh.
And it's just not sinking in. And I'm frustrated for him. I'd like for him to turn things around.
You sort of want to life coach him into having a little bit more of a spine.
Yeah, I just think he's being a pussy, dude. I'm like, dude, you need to man up. You have a lot to offer. You're a smart guy. You're an interesting guy. And this like lack of confidence is not cute on you, dude.
So is it more that you want him to change who he is, or do you think it would be equally efficient to just have him not tell these stories to everyone anymore?
Maybe it's that. Because listen, I'm not saying like you can't just manufacture confidence. I understand that. But like, there's a way to sort of there's a way to sort of like invoke compassion with your lack of confidence. And this is not the way. He's coming in hot with these stories of perceived failure that aren't even real. And I'm like, dude, get it together.
I'm sure Jordan Peterson would have something to say about this.
I think so.
I'm not
too.
even kidding you. I bet
think so
he'd be
too.
able to diagnose this and say, well, that's hundreds of years of genetic coding, and that's him rolling over and showing his belly and letting, the alpha dogs know I'm not here to take anyone's meat or mate, any of that stuff. I don't know.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I just want to be like, dude, yeah, I find myself coaching him and I don't want to be that. I don't like that dynamic either. I'm like, dude, get it together. So to all of you out there who lead with self-deprecating stories that could go either way, give yourself the benefit of the doubt for once. It's nice for your the people you encounter.
That's a good thought.
Do you think
good
so?
message.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have a guess.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I really like this guy, by the way. I consider him a friend. I feel bad for him because I don't know. Okay, we'll do some email action and then go about our business. Okay, this one is called "I Hate My Boyfriend's New Tattoo."
Oh,
which I like that. Oops, the P. I started listening at the beginning of the pandemic and listen every week. I regularly find myself cracking up behind my mask on my morning commute. Love it. I'm a 27-year-old woman and have been dating a 29-year-old man for a little over a year and a half. We met on a dating app during the pandemic, and we are both very serious about this relationship. When we first started dating, he was apprehensive to show me his tattoos because he thought I may be turned off. Since he saw me as being someone who was more, quote, innocent or maybe, quote, basic, and he's more of a musician bad boy type. Love where this has gone. Those tattoos are on his lower body, and I actually really like them. Recently, he was thinking of getting another tattoo, and he showed me a design idea on his phone. I looked at it, and I told him straight up that I thought it was a little creepy / strange. He defended it and said it was a traditional style of tattoo and is not weird. I digressed and said, well, it's not my body, so I won't tell you what to do, and I don't care, but I'm going to lie and say that I like it. He said he does care about my input as his girlfriend and would think about it. Fast forward a week and the tattoo shop called him with a last minute opening. He went in, got the design pretty big on his upper arm. I'm having mixed feelings about all this because A, he previously said he didn't want to get any tattoos that couldn't be covered by a t-shirt. And B, it's a pretty central spot on his body that I will be looking at all the time. So my questions are these. Since I didn't firmly express my opinion, do I have any place to be upset at this new tattoo? How do you learn to accept a tattoo / piercing / appearance change in a partner that you don't love? Looking forward to hearing your take.
wow. I'm going to let you go because you're the tattoo guy.
I'm the tattoo. Do you guys know that about me? That I have a lot of tattoos? Listeners, you may not. But
you wouldn't, they're none of them are, they're not abrasive. They're not overt.
Yeah, they're pretty they're not what's the word? They're not interfering.
No, they're not discoloring. They're not really defining you at all.
Yeah, and
they're
it's
little ornaments.
It's weird. I'm not really even a tattoo guy.
Right.
In this
how many do you
way,
have?
Probably 20.
No, you're a tattoo guy.
I know, but I'm not, if that makes sense.
That's it. That's enough to be a tattoo guy.
Fine. But my point being, I'm not just talking about, when's the last time I talked about tattoos? You know what I mean?
When you get them, do you enjoy the feeling?
I do.
That's crazy, dude.
And I've gotten to the point, it doesn't, dude, I'm not even kidding. It doesn't even hurt at all. It feels good. It burns in this nice way. It's
See, that's what tattoo guys say.
It's really nice. Yeah. So I get them in powerful moments in my life and I've gotten to the point where I have so many that if I just get one, I have plenty of them that I'm just I don't really like that one anymore. You get to a point where you have enough tattoos that the stakes lower. So that's something that I'll say in this regard. It's like, okay, he has this tattoo, but like you'll get used to it. And like it doesn't, just because you don't like it, it doesn't have to matter. I get that like it's in your fucking face and it sounds like his biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's not ideal, but A, maybe you'll learn to like it. B, I think you'll just kind of forget that it exists. Like I literally have a girlfriend, or sorry, new girlfriend. Just I literally have a tattoo of a name of an old girlfriend on my body. And like my girlfriend and I do not care. It doesn't bother. We don't even talk about it. We used to joke about it.
Yeah.
Now we don't even notice that it's there.
Would you get a tattoo removed?
Maybe, but like not that one. It's just like I feel like I give the ex-girlfriend too much credit by removing it. Like that would mean that I was thinking so much about it that I chose to go through a very complicated and painful procedure. Instead, I'll just let her rot on my body, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Oh my God. What on earth?
I'll let her rot on my body. I'm not going to like cross her name out. I'm not going to amend the tattoo. I'm just going to let it sit there as a reminder of how insignificant she is.
But what about when you have kids and they see that and they say, what's that for?
I'll be like, that's for a girl that daddy dated before mommy. And then if they're like, I'm going to get a girl tattooed on me because you did it, I'm not going to say don't. I'm going to be like, good. Go be passionate. Go fucking love to the stars, kid. Go get that tattoo. And don't regret it.
That's so funny. I don't know. I've definitely toyed with the idea of getting tattoos in my life at various points. And I'm very glad that I didn't. Mostly because I can't think of anything now that would have been meaningful enough for me to immortalize it on my body.
So the way I kind of see it, it's sort of like a time capsule. So like it may not matter, but it's sort of like a Horcrux of like how you were feeling at the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a kind of a nice reminder. It's almost like a diary. You can kind of like tap into like your life at that time and like the things that mattered to you then that just don't matter at all
Well,
anymore.
it's sort of like when I talked about all the shit I used to buy.
Right? No, seriously. It's like,
Instead of buying Pokemon cards, you tattooed a Charizard on your arm.
you just get a Gucci symbol
on your wrist, a Rolex tattoo, and you know.
Yeah, I think that like it sounds like you're serious about this guy. I don't think it has to matter. It's just a tattoo. Yeah, maybe that's easy for me to say, but I think that it's not gonna like. And to be honest, to her original point that we did not attack yet, she did say it was fine. So in a way, you don't really have a leg to stand on, and maybe the guy was looking for you to be more direct. So that's a learning. So he respects your opinion. It's not like you said I hate it, and then he sneakily went and got it. Like you said, oh, okay, like it's fine.
Yeah, but it sounded to me like she didn't feel like she should offer a strong opinion, even though she didn't like it.
Right. Yeah. It's unclear how that conversation went. But if he was like, seriously, what do you think? And she was like, I don't like it. And then what did he say back? He had a reply to that. And then she was like, okay, fine. Okay. He said it's a traditional style of tattoo and quote is not weird. She could have doubled down on her point.
That's such. He's just stating that a very subjective opinion as a fact.
Right.
It's not weird. Well, that's your opinion, dude.
And it also sounds like he missed the mark of what she was talking about. I don't think she thought that like the style with which the tattoo was going to be made was weird. She just thought that it was weird in general.
Yeah. I mean, look, not for nothing. You date a bad boy who's covered in tats, you're gonna get more bad boy tats. I don't think this is a particularly surprising development, and it's certainly not gonna be the last tattoo he gets that she's gonna disagree with.
Yeah,
so
true.
Something tells me, you know what you signed up for, and you got to make your peace with it or end it. That's how I would approach this.
NDP, dude.
Cool.
Love it. Chris, what's up?
No, I just want to say that I feel like your tattoos you have very small tattoos. I don't think you mentioned that. Like everything is really small. So like,
yeah, but they're not like teeny
them.
tiny small. They're not like a tiny butterfly,
but
they're like medium small.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think that I just have these like teeny tiny little, you know what I mean? Some of them are bigger than others, but yeah, they're not like, I don't have a sleeve.
No.
What was the most painful one you ever got? You remember? Have you enjoyed the pain?
Dude, I have
from
one
the
on my
first
fucking
one?
head, dude, and it doesn't even.
Oh
that one
my
didn't even hurt. I have one back here.
God.
I have. I don't.
What are you, a
Rec-
prisoner?
I know. I don't recall any of them.
What the fuck?
I don't recall any of them really hurting that much, even in the places that are supposed to be painful. Like I have one on my ribs. that
How
didn't
did you
hurt.
get it on your head? How did that
I
even
just
happen?
fucking did it on my head.
Oh, it's behind your ear?
Yeah.
I thought maybe you had to shave your head.
Oh
and
no,
then
no,
do
no.
it.
It's not like I don't have like a triangle at the top of my
Yeah.
cranium.
A map to water. The map to dry land.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that any of them were that painful. They say that like on your kneecap, like a place that isn't meaty, they say
Yeah,
tends to
right.
be painful. But yeah, I don't know.
Amazing.
And that's that.
That's Oops the Podcast. We love you guys for listening.
Where are you gonna be?
Well, I will be in New York City, Gotham Comedy Club, from April 8th until the 9th.
Cool.
4 shows. They're gonna sell out. I would get tickets at francisellis.com. I hope to see you guys there. It's gonna be a grand old affair.
Grand Ole Opry. I
Yeah.
love it. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'm in Panama City Beach. Harpoon Harry on Saturday, longboards on Sunday. Those should be fun.
And Stickler Sally's on Monday.
Stickler
and
Sally's on Monday.
Pirate Pete's on Tuesday.
And the 26th, I'm in Albany with Whitney Cummings. You guys are coming to that.
Wow.
That's gonna be fun. And then we have our show. I think shows in Boston.
I
the
think we've added
24th
a
of
second
March.
show, but that might be sold out by now.
But
if it's
we hope
not,
to see you there.
get tickets. Boston City Winery, also francisellis.com, oopsthepodcast.com, everywhere else.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you guys. Send us
Ciao.
more emails. We love you. oopsthepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.